Well, this has been quite the gap between SRB2 videos, hasn't it? With Control 2 being announced, I just had to make a video on it, and then I had to wait a while to start work on the last Triple Trouble episode because I had to revise for my upcoming exams. I come back, browse the SRB2 forums, wondering which character I should review next, and I see him, Ryder the Falcon. Transfixed by his glorious physique, I just had to download him. And what do you know? He's actually pretty alright. Starting, as always, with his moveset, Ryder has 2 main abilities and then 3 little passive traits that are pretty unique, if not the most game-changing. Starting with his jump ability, Ryder has the Pillar Rise, which summons a column-like platform from the ground to use for essentially a significantly more powerful second jump. Be aware that, while it does actually extend a respectable distance upwards, the fact that this platform doesn't reset your cooldown to use another Pillar Rise and can't be used after launching off a spring makes it a bit unsuitable to use for the purposes of jump recovery instead of extra traversal options. His spin ability is the Rock Throw, where you can throw a rock. It's not the most unique name, alright? The generated blocks can be used as platforms, allowing you to nerd pole up or create staircases, although these also don't reset your Pillar Rise, so don't be having any ideas. This is also your main form of attack, as you can, of course, throw these boulders at your enemies. Think of them as the mortar launcher to Fang's pistol. Their versatility in this role is hampered somewhat though, by how you need to manually aim the rocks, which is obviously very useful for using them as platforms, but less useful when you need to kill an enemy that is right in front of you, as there's no way you can maneuver the reticle over your opponent fast enough. I feel that giving it a lock-on feature when you're looking at an enemy within a certain range would make the ability feel both of its intended nieces a little better than at the current moment, and I'd also say the sensitivity could probably be turned down somewhat to allow easier stacking of the blocks, but these are minor complaints. Ryder has 3 passive traits, all of which are related to his sizable frame. He's pretty chubby, which apparently has diminished his bird-like traits. He still retains a slightly higher jump than the average character, but this comes with the trade-off of causing him to fall much faster than usual. The 2 changes combined makes it feel a bit odd trying to make jumps for a while, as it messes with your instincts about how far you should be able to go. But once you get used to it, it only serves to distinguish Ryder from the rest. His weight also comes into play if you fall for long enough, because once after effects start trailing behind you, landing will release a shockwave that destroys nearby enemies. It also boosts the power of any springs you land on, but this doesn't come into play very often as this isn't really an effect you can control in that sort of way. Finally, Ryder takes significantly less notice of knockback from enemy attacks, so getting hit by a Badnik will only cause you to shuffle back a few millimeters. It also works for some boss attacks, as during my testing it stopped the knockback from Brack Eggman's arm launch, which usually throws you out of the arena, but this is pretty inconsistent as Fang's bombs and Eggman's missiles still seem to affect Ryder much the same. Sprite-wise, Ryder is clearly a larger character than the vanilla cast. He's taller and wider, which does make him more imposing, but also comes with the caveat of him blocking a lot of screen space, which can make it harder to see incoming obstacles. He also has the unfortunate problem of being quite a square character, as his running animations tuck in his extremities, making him essentially a giant running cube. Pair that with cubic boulders and square pillars, as well as the fact his feet become distractingly square while he runs, and it all feels like it's an awkward translation of a character design that should feel much more rounded, as seen in his character art. That being said, Ryder is able to interact with the level in a way no other character can, between the pillars, the boulders, and the massive holes he leaves behind picking them up. Not to mention how his heavyweight status can interact with object physics in a very unique way. It's all very satisfying, especially when you start sliding boulders into one another or blocking enemies using the pillars. Overall, I think Ryder is a pretty great mod to get back into SRB2 with. It's really rare to see a character that can be really classified as a heavyweight in SRB2, that being a larger, heavier, slower character with more methodical abilities. Ryder's a great blueprint for that character archetype, with fun abilities, great interactions with the environment that takes advantage of his strength and power, albeit with problems regarding sprites and some inconsistency with when his passive abilities kick in. I'll rank him an 8 out of 10. I hope you enjoyed the video, and ciao.